Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. I like being outside. I like being surrounded by great vistas. I like not knowing what's around the next corner. I like seeing if my imagination matches the destination upon arrival. I like hiking. I've always liked hiking, more specifically day hiking. It is one of the things I do in my free time. Over the years, I've had many adventures through the wilderness and some far out places. All of these hikes have been around 2 to 17 miles and finished usually in a day. A few years ago, I came across an article about the John Muir Trail in the Sierra Nevada mountains. After reading about it and following up with some research of the trail and Mr. Muir, I was exposed to the idea of through hiking, something that I originally thought to be for the Pacific Crest Trail or the Appalachian Trail, and something generally out of my reach for my schedule. But as it turns out, there's a whole network of trails for some reason I have never really considered until learning of John Muir. After a year of talking to my older brother about what ifs and wouldn't that be cool, he finally said, no more talking, it's time to be about it. So on January 5th of 2022, we set out on a plan to hike in the Sierra Nevada mountains. We ended up choosing the High Sierra Trail. It's an 80-mile journey over 6 days that has 15,000 feet of elevation gain, crossing the Western Divide and down into over the Kaweah Gap, down into the Kern River and back up to summiting Mount Whitney at 14,505 feet. Sounds like a walk in the park for our first ever overnight trip in the backcountry. All we could really think about was stepping off into the unknown, at least for us. So let the obsession begin. Step one was fitness. I immediately started an ever-increasing fitness plan, culminated with back-to-back 12-mile hikes in Big Sur with 3,000 feet of elevation gain, wearing a 65-pound pack. And I might say it was with ease too. Step two was get the gear. Become one of those people that lives at REI. I love being prepared, and there's no other place to geek out over outdoor gear than REI. They sell great stuff, but the best thing about them is the return policy. If it doesn't fit your needs, you can return it for any reason. I went through multiple pairs of hiking boots before I settled on the perfect one. Step three was logistics. This was one of the hardest things to nail down outside of the hike itself. My brother drove down from Illinois, the 2,000-mile journey. He wanted to do that. He said he'd like to drive. I drove in from Monterey, so it was a lot easier. We met in Lone Pine, California, where we stayed the night and we left my car. The next morning, we drove to Visalia on the other side of the Western Divide, stayed the night there, where we shuttled into Sequoia Kings Canyon National Park at dark 30 and picked up our wilderness permits. Moment had finally come. Standing at the trailhead with butterflies in my stomach and posing for pictures, we stepped off into the wilderness. Immediately, we had our first bear sighting. It was a mom and 2 cubs. I thought to myself, geez, John, what have you gotten yourself into? I'm in over my head. The trail starts in a meadow and it snakes its way through the trees and along the mountainside with glimpses of the Central Valley and Buck Canyon. I remember thinking that I expected it to be harder. It wasn't until we arrived at our first campsite at mile 12 that I got a real glimpse of the Kaweah Gap and realized for the second time that I might be in over my head. I won't even try to tell you about the noises I heard that night and the monsters that my mind associated with those noises. I will say this, whoever named the camp probably heard the same monsters that they named it Bear Paw Meadow or Bear Paw Camp. That night was the third time I felt like I was in over my head. So the next day we were going, it was going to be a big day. It was only 4,500 feet of elevation gain to cross the Kaweah Gap and over to the Big Arroyo. Looking back now, I still laugh at the idea that we thought we could do that with our inexperience. Having said that, we ended up making it up the trail. We were carrying 65 pounds each, by the way, which is way too much. Probably twice as much as we should have been carrying. The route was literally carved out of the mountain cliffs and snaked its way up and up and up and up. Some of the sections were damaged from that winter's storms and made them extremely exposed. So exposed that a misstep or a slip would have been deadly. But for the 4th time, I felt as if I was in over my head. But nonetheless, we made it to our second camp around dark and set up for the night. That night, the wind picked up. The campsite was at 10,000 feet and felt like it was exposed to the jet stream. We had checked weather and saw a gnarly system was coming in and moving in the next night, probably last for 2 days. Major rain, lightning, snow were expected at the higher elevations, which is precisely where we were. The time fantasizing preparing for this trip, the literal dreams of making it to the Whitney portal were pushing me to continue. But for the fifth and final time, I thought I was in over my head, and the decision was made to cut our losses and turn around. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. As a first responder, I know what would happen if we got in trouble and who would have to come and we might endanger if they have to come and get us. So that morning, before the system really moved in, we made our way back down. Since it was mostly downhill, we managed the 2 days of up and 1 day of down. We made camp that night at a touristy area of the park. As soon as we got everything set up, the skies opened and the bottom fell out. A literal deluge. There was widespread flash flooding, and some of the roads in the park temporarily closed to debris flows. Mount Whitney received a foot of snow. The rivers and creeks swelled to dangerous levels, and we were left sitting in our tents for a day, riding out the weather, trying to imagine what it would have been like if we were to ride that storm at elevation. We realized then that canceling due to weather was 100% the right call. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, back to you.